I was just looking for my cat when I saw it. The new Rolls-Royce in our underground garage. Windows fogged up, figures moving inside. At 60 years old, I'm not entirely naive. I knew what foggy windows meant, but when I crept closer and peered through the glass, my world collapsed. Two naked bodies, tangled together, unconscious. The man? My husband of 35 years, Lucien Blackwood, the cold, proper, I have no emotions CEO who barely touched me anymore. The woman, Rosalind Fairchild, his college sweetheart. The one his parents paid to disappear before we married. Tears flooded my eyes instantly. I'm an heiress born with a silver spoon, raised by doting parents, never worked a day in my life. I don't do well with crises. I do well with shopping. I cried. A lot. Loud, ugly, helpless sobbing. Then I noticed something strange. They weren't moving at all, and their skin was cherry red, pinkish, almost pretty. Beautiful. My useless brain supplied like a postcoital glow. No, wait. I'd watched enough medical dramas with my friends. Carbon monoxide poisoning. I fumbled for my phone, fingers shaking so badly I dropped it twice. I'd blocked my son Sebastian after our last fight, the one where he called me dramatic for being upset about his father's friendship with Rose. I unblocked him. Called once, twice, 10 times, 20. 30 minutes of relentless calling before he answered. Sebastian, I wailed, my voice reaching octaves I didn't know existed. Come home. Your father and Rosalind, they're dying. Carbon monoxide. The car. Mother! His voice was ice-wrapped in annoyance. I'm in a meeting. Sebastian, listen to me. No. You listen. He cut me off, and I heard it. That familiar impatience. The disdain he'd had for me since childhood. I've told you 100 times. Dad and Rose are old friends. You're being paranoid, obsessive. Seraphine's heart is acting up. I don't have time for your theatrics. But they're naked, Sebastian, both of them. I can't call an ambulance like this. He laughed, actually laughed. Now you're fabricating stories? Spreading lies about Dad? How did I get such a pathetic mother? The line went dead. Stared at my phone, then at the two unconscious, very naked people in my car. I sighed deeply. Well, I thought, if you die like this, husband, I wonder how long it'll take me to spend all your money. Let me explain something. I'm Eleanor Winters Blackwood, only child of the Winters fortune. I've never cooked a meal, never held a job, never made a bed. My parents spoiled me rotten, and I married Lucien at 22, fresh out of college. I didn't know about Rose until after the wedding. By then, what could I do? He was handsome. So handsome. And when we were in bed, completely different from his cold public persona. It confused me. This man who shushed my tears during dinner, but whispered desperate things in the dark. Our son Sebastian arrived a year later. I almost died on the operating table. Hemorrhage, emergency hysterectomy, the works. So I loved him fiercely. Too fiercely, maybe. But Sebastian, he worshipped his father from birth. At 7 years old, he looked at me with those cold Blackwood eyes and said, Dad likes women who can stand beside him, not women who just shop. I blinked at my 7-year-old. Shopping is standing, very expensive standing. He didn't laugh. The Blackwoods never laugh at my jokes. They preferred Rose. Sebastian met her when he was 8. Lucien took him on a business trip that was actually a visit to his real family. Rose, the sweet, struggling single mother. Her daughter Serafina, the delicate heart girl who needed protecting. Sebastian came home obsessed. Aunt Rose makes dumplings, he told me. Aunt Rose is gentle. Aunt Rose doesn't buy things all day. I bought him 12 different chefs who made dumplings. He refused to eat them. You're not Aunt Rose, he said. I cried for 3 days. Then I bought a Birkin. Felt better. 6 months ago, I found Lucien's diary. Tucked in his study, behind some law books he knew I'd never touch. Smart man. I haven't touched a book since college. Turns out his annual business trips, vacations with Rose, every year for decades. Photographs of them hiking, dining, holding hands at sunset, places I'd begged him to take me. Too busy, he'd always say. Here's 100,000. Go with your friends. So I did. I went everywhere: Antarctica, Iceland, Hawaii, Paris. I saw penguins and auroras and volcanoes. Handsome men flirted with me constantly. I stayed loyal because I'm an old-fashioned romantic idiot, and he was with Rose. I confronted him, screaming, crying, whichever works. He looked at me calmly and transferred money to my account. Rose and I are friends. Buy yourself something nice. I bought things. Still angry, I told Sebastian. My son sighed like I was exhausting. Mom, men have friends who are women. It's normal. Dad took me to meet Rose when I was 8. She's lovely. Not the type to ruin families. He knew. He'd always known. Sebastian, I whispered, I gave you my kidney. When you were sick, I gave you a part of my body. His face darkened. What? You're going to hold that over me forever? Want it back? Want me to die? We haven't spoken properly since. I blocked him. He didn't notice. Back to the garage. 2 naked, almost corpses. Me, sobbing. Then I remembered my neighbor. Andrea Hazandi, to friends, is a 30-something blogger with millions of followers. We bonded over her love of my handbag collection and my love of her complete lack of judgment. I ran to her door, hysterical. Andy, they're dying. Naked. In my car. Andy grabbed her phone by instinct and followed me. When she saw the scene, she let out a very unladylike whistle. Holy, Ella, you sure you want to save them? I was crying too hard to answer. She took about 40 photos from different angles. Sorry. Force of habit. I won't post them, promise. Then she drove us to the hospital, breaking every speed limit. At the emergency entrance, I realized my mistake. They were still naked. I grabbed their clothes from the car and covered Lucian's face with Rose's bra, and Rose's face with Lucian's boxers. Perfect. Dignity preserved. The doctors rushed them in. Andy and I waited. Then the doctor appeared, face grim. They came too late. Severe brain herniation. We need to operate immediately, but... He hesitated. All our specialists are occupied. Occupied? I'm the chairman's wife. Get them now. He looked pained. They're with your son. His fiancée had a heart episode. He called every specialist in the building to her room. I called Sebastian. No answer. Called again. Nothing. Where? I asked. Penthouse VIP, but you can't get in. Security's locked it down. I ran for the elevator anyway. The guards stopped me immediately. Ma'am, this area is restricted. I'm Eleanor Blackwood, Sebastian's mother, the chairman's wife. Blank stares. Sure you are. I have his contact. I pulled out my phone, scrolled, and froze. No photos with Sebastian, not one. He'd always refused. Mom, you're so embarrassing. Mom, stop. Mom, why do you need photos? But I'd seen albums of him with Lucian, with Rose, smiling, happy. The guards snorted. Can't even prove it? We get girls claiming to be the boss's girlfriend. First time someone's tried the I'm his mom angle. That's a new low, lady. I'm his mother. Look his WhatsApp. But we'd blocked each other. No message history. They laughed. Actually laughed at me. Nice try. Now leave before we make you. I shoved past them, ran. Andy filmed everything, shouting about her followers. I burst into the conference room. Sebastian sat at the head of a long table, surrounded by every specialist in the hospital, all discussing one patient, Serafina Fairchild. He looked up, annoyed. Guards? Sebastian? I grabbed his arm. Your father is dying. You need to send doctors downstairs now. He pulled away, rubbing his temples. Mother, Seraphine's heart is failing. This isn't the time for your jealousy. Jealousy? He's naked in a car with your precious Rose. They're both dying. Serafina appeared then, pale, fragile, clutching a hospital gown to her chest. Sebastian, I'm so sorry. It's my fault. If I weren't so sick, your mother wouldn't be so upset. She started crying, beautiful tears sliding down beautiful cheeks. I wanted to throw my Birkin at her. Serafina, I said desperately, your mother is dying too. Actually dying, not pretend dying. She cried harder. Sebastian held her. Get out, he said coldly, before I have you removed. Sebastian, every doctor stays here. Anyone who leaves is fired from every hospital we own. One brave doctor whispered, Sir, maybe I could just check. You want to work in this city again? Silence. My phone rang. Andy's voice, quiet and sad. Ella, they're gone. Both of them. I dropped the phone, looked at my son, my beautiful boy, my kidney, my heart, and screamed, You killed your father. You killed him for that acting little. Sebastian's face flickered. Confusion. Doubt? Guilt? Then Serafina fainted gracefully into his arms. I walked out. Lucian's funeral was enormous. Flowers everywhere. Important people crying. Me, standing alone. Sebastian didn't come. He was supporting Serafina through her recovery. Serafina, who was perfectly fine. I'd hired investigators by then. Her heart condition was mild, barely worth monitoring. But she'd cultivated it beautifully, using it to manipulate Sebastian since childhood. Every specialist in that room, on her payroll for years. Lucian and Rose died because their children were too selfish to share doctors. Poetic, really. I stood at the coffin and whispered, You were a terrible husband. But you were the only one I had. I'll make this right. Then I called Andy. Release everything. The photos, the audio, the video of Sebastian refusing help. Burn it all down. The media went nuclear. Hashtag CEO Deathcar. Hashtag SonkillsFather. Hashtag Heartless Heir. Stock prices plummeted. Investors panicked. Sebastian, high on whatever sedatives he'd started taking to support Serafina through her anxiety, did nothing. So I stepped in. Here's what no one knew. I wasn't just a shopping-obsessed housewife. 20 years ago, my father sat me down. Eleanor, baby, I love you, but men fail. Lucian might fail. So I'm setting something up, a company in your name, run by my people. Learn it, grow it, don't tell anyone. I learned, I grew. While I traveled all those years, I was building a tech empire, meeting investors, signing deals. My father's people became my people. Lucian and Sebastian thought they were the only business minds in the family. They had no idea. Now, as the media circus raged, I appeared. I addressed the board. I addressed the investors. I addressed the public's same tearful face they'd seen begging my son for help. But now steady, calm. My husband made mistakes. My son made worse ones. But this company is my family's legacy, and I will protect it. The students I'd sponsored for decades? They spoke up. Hundreds of them, now executives, managers, rising stars, all saying the same thing. Mrs. Blackwood changed my life. The library where I'd worked for 15 years? The staff held a press conference about the quiet, kind woman who showed up every day. Slowly, the narrative shifted. Not dramatic housewife. Silent architect. Stock prices recovered. Then soared. 3 weeks after the funeral, Sebastian stormed into a board meeting. He looked terrible, unshaven, suit wrinkled, eyes wild. Mom, tell me, this is a lie. Tell me, Dad isn't really. He stopped, seeing the flat screen behind me. It played the video. Me, hysterical, begging. Him, cold, refusing. The timestamp matching Lucian's death. Is this real? I thought you were lying. I didn't stand. I called you 37 times. But Serafina, she told me you were making it up. Serafina paid your entire medical staff to pretend she was dying. Here. I slid a folder across the table. Bank records. Payment schedules. Her real medical reports. She has a mild arrhythmia. Treatable with beta blockers. Nothing urgent. He opened it. Read. His face went gray. But she loves me. She wouldn't, she's delicate, she needs me. Sebastian. I finally stood. You chose a woman who faked illness over your father's actual death. You killed him. Both of them. For nothing. He backed away, shaking his head. Then he ran. That night, Andy texted me, "Check the news." Sebastian had driven to Lucian's grave, found Serafina there, visiting her mother's grave, apologizing. Who knows? What we know. He had a knife. She had no guards, 23 stab wounds. Her body posed kneeling at Lucian's grave, stripped to the waist, hands bound behind her. The news called it a crime of passion. The internet called it justice. Sebastian stood covered in blood, surrounded by police, and told reporters, "Tell my mom. Tell her I'm not a coward. Not anymore." Hashtag not a coward trended for days. Hashtag crazy rich heir trended longer. Hashtag girlboss widow became a thing I didn't ask for. Sebastian got life in prison. No parole. I haven't visited. I'm too busy. At 60, I renamed Blackwood Industries to Winters Group. My company. My name. My rules. The board respects me. The investors love me. The media? They can't get enough of the shopping queen who became a tycoon. And yes, I date young men, old men, men who cook, men who listen, men who don't look at me like I'm a decorative vase. Every so often I light incense for Lucian and chat. Darling, this one's a yoga instructor, much more flexible than you. This one's a chef. Remember when you burned toast? This one actually laughs at my jokes. Shocking, I know. Last week, Lucien appeared in my dream, furious, demanding I wait for him in the afterlife, insisting we'd be reborn together. I woke up, called a Taoist priest, and had him exorcised. "Where's he going?" I asked. "Animal realm," the priest said. "Karma. Perfect. Less pressure to reincarnate." Epilogue. My biggest problem now? 62 years old. Billions of dollars. No one to spend it on but me. The horror. The absolute tragedy. I might need a bigger closet. The end. Subscribe for more drama. Up next, saving my sister.